Hey guys, want to show your support to the channel and get some awesome rewards at the same time? Then go check out my Patreon page where at whatever tier you choose that fits your budget, you'll get plenty of rewards such as updates and announcements on the regular, exclusive sneak peeks of my videos before they go up online, get yourself credited, and receive a special shout out at the end of my videos and more. Go to patreon.com/AckleyAttack44227 to start pledging today. And don't forget to also check out and consider gifting me any items I have listed on my Amazon wishlist and even supporting me on my Streamlabs tipping page that'll also help support the channel directly. Links are in the description box below as well as on my link tree for you to check out. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Take care. Hey guys, like what we do on our channel and want to see more videos from us? Then not to worry about a thing. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as turning on the notification bell so that way you can see more of our videos coming up very soon. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Hello, I'm AckleyAttack4427, and aside from me being a well-known content creator on YouTube, I'm also known for putting together some pretty awesome cosplays. And a lot of that may be is because I actually do own a really good number of them. Now I'm not just talking about the normal varieties such as sci-fi and comic books, I also mean the incredible kind from stuff like movies, TV shows, video games, and anime. And I love the hell out of them. I enjoy looking like the characters I dress up as, and whenever I wear one for either a convention, a photo shoot, or anything else in particular, the experience was well worth it. So I'm doing a series talking about, well, everything revolving around cosplay. We're gonna go over everything ranging from some of the new ones that I've put together, what you can do to actually be a really great cosplayer, and to see if the experience will be well worth it. So sit back, relax, and get your sewing needles ready because this is CGS, aka a Cosplayer's Guide to Success. Yep. Should look good from here. Man, you're really going to help out a whole lot once I actually take you out for a nice photo shoot. Oh, hi! Yeah, I guess it's actually kind of expected that I would see you here, so yeah, anyways, hey guys, this is AckleyAttack4427 here, and welcome back to another episode of CGS, aka a Cosplayer's Guide to Success. So yeah, you might be wondering to yourself, why am I actually getting out my camera and stuff, pretty much for this episode? Well, surprisingly enough, seeing how I do have this in my hand, and I've been making a good use of it for some of my recent cosplays that I've actually shown off here, especially, of course, this bag. Yeah, I gotta figure for today's episode, I want you to really picture this, hands down. You've got all sorts of cosplays right here that you've actually got for sure, and you might be thinking to yourself, is it really enough to actually bring those to a convention? No, not at all. But I guess pretty much if anything, the one thing that every cosplayer would expect, hands down, is that pretty much anyone will, of course, come up to you and actually really admire your cosplay, and moreover, they would ask you if they can actually take a good picture of you, hands down. So yeah, pretty much if anything, pretty much when it comes to anything in particular for, of course, cosplay, we all know the old saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words, so yeah, and luckily enough, pretty much it's not just regular attendees, but pretty much photographers as well have also been popping up at conventions for sure to actually take pictures of course, you in all these incredible outfits that you put together. And surprisingly enough, pretty much hence why photo shoots have been popping up for sure when it comes to cosplay and conventions in a nutshell. So yeah, and pretty much of anything, that's where the term cosplay photo shoot would actually come into play for sure. And yeah, pretty much of anything, ever since cosplay have actually first popped up, photo shoots and everything have been popping up as well for sure, whether it be at the convention or pretty much on location for sure, just to name a few. So yeah, and I think we all know the pretty much what actually goes down for, of course, pretty much a cosplay photo shoot, hands down. But that would beg the ultimate question: what does it take to actually plan one of those out for sure? Well, surprisingly enough, that's what we're talking about here today for today's episode for sure. So yeah, I guess if anything, cosplay photo shoots is something to really plan out on top of course, playing out your cosplays for sure, whether it be a convention, for a convention or for an event or anything in particular for sure. But as long as, of course, you actually got the right one and actually have a detailed idea of course, what you want to do for a cosplay photo shoot for sure, I think you should be in good hands to get one set up and really take advantage of course, your costume in whatever environment that you actually put into it, hands down. And I know that's saying a whole lot because if you may recall, years ago, I did actually do pretty much, I did talk about the subject of course, cosplay photo shoots, but mainly through my experience with it, through, of course, my own separate video, hands down. But I guess for this episode that we're talking about here today, I think we might as well take the time to actually discuss about what it actually takes to actually plan out the cosplay photo shoot in any means by far. So yeah, and that actually does kind of vary for the most part, whether it be at a convention or on location. That would actually best suit the costume that you're actually wearing for sure. And sometimes, pretty much, you can either do a solo or, of course, or pretty much anything. There's entire photo shoot and meetup events that would actually do that, hands down. So yeah, and surprisingly enough, pretty much what it actually takes to plan out each and every single one of them, that's, of course, what we're going to be talking about here today. So yeah, I kind of figured for today's episode, we might as well go ahead and discuss pretty much on what it actually takes to actually put together a cosplay photo shoot in a nutshell. And yeah, with, of course, the tips and tricks that I actually found for sure, I think it would actually kind of help you out in, of course, where you need to be, hands down. So yeah, that's, of course, what we're going to be talking about here today. So, what does it actually take to actually plan out a cosplay photo shoot? Well, pretty much of anything, grab your camera, sit back, and let's find out. Alrighty then, well, now that we finally got that out of the way, I think we might as well go ahead and answer the number one question by far. What does it take to actually plan out a cosplay photo shoot, or I guess in this case, how to actually plan a cosplay photo shoot in a nutshell? And well, the answer is actually quite simple because, well, for a while I have actually done a few cosplay photo shoots for sure over the years in its entirety, and well, I'm in desperate need to do more given to the amount of cosplays I've actually put together by far. I think the answer is actually quite simple because, well, I guess in order to actually plan out a cosplay photo shoot, I think it pretty much would come down to at least 4 factors that I've actually found out for sure based on my research. So So yeah, and of course the first factor when it comes to playing out a cosplay photoshoot is of course planning and preparation. Now I guess if anything, you can't just pretty much say, hey, I want to do a cosplay photoshoot, let's get right to it, and that would be that. No, stuff like that actually does take up a lot of planning and preparation in order to actually do it. And that's actually similar to, of course, making your own cosplay if you actually got the time and the materials that you actually need. So yeah, pretty much of anything, pretty much when it comes to playing and preparation, hands down, you definitely need to have a good amount of variety and stuff to really get that going. With of course the first one being having a theme and story. So yeah, pretty much of anything, instead of course pretty much just showing up to the photo shoot and striking a few poses and of course your outfits and stuff. No, you need to think about pretty much scenes or moments that will help best suit the character you're cosplaying as for sure, and actually build a theme around it for sure. Like of course, if I were to actually bring one of my Ash Ketchum cosplays, I need to think of some ideas that will really capture pretty much the themes and story of course, the Pokemon anime, almost like it's really come to life for sure. Or if I'm cosplaying anyone from Ruby, I need to do that as well. Or anyone from Genshin Impact, I have to do that as well. So yeah, pretty much of anything, themes and ideas, and even a good story could really help benefiting, of course, helping your cosplay photoshoot stand out for what it is for sure. And just as long as, of course, it will help match with, of course, with the character you're cosplaying as, I think you should be in good hands. And another thing that you should actually take note, hands down, is that pretty much of anything for a really great cosplay photo shoot, that relies to, of course, another thing in its entirety, and that being the one key thing, that being location, location, location. So yeah, pretty much of anything, we do know that doing photo shoots at conventions are actually great, but the ones that really stood out is, of course, pretty much you have to go out on location for a really good spot anywhere in particular that could really help pretty much benefit the character hands down. Like of course, yeah, you can't just stay stuck in your house all the way. No, always rely on choosing a location that will complement the character and the theme that you're actually looking for hands down. So stuff like, of course, pretty much let's say some parks or maybe some urban settings or even specific indoor locations could actually work quite well for sure. So yeah, pretty much of anything, it's always great to pretty much have a good location for sure. Like, let's take for example, going all the way back when I did my photo shoot in my Ballerina Barbara cosplay, hands down. Now, I can't just rely on, of course, my house all the way to, of course, make the photo shoot stand out. No. Literally, upon actually completing this all the way, and right before I debuted at Retro Game Con, the one thing I actually decided to do is, of course, well, I decided to bring it to a local dance studio that will really help benefit to, of course, benefit that said cosplay from what I can gather. And luckily enough, when I did swing by at the Cortland Performing Arts Institute a few years ago, and of course that said cosplay, I was quite thrilled that pretty much the costume itself actually does match, and of course being in that said dance studio for sure, because yeah, when you really think about it, that said dance studio does specialize in, of course, teaching all sorts of pretty much dance and stuff, with one of them being ballet. So by bringing my Ballerina Barbara cosplay to that local dance studio that I've actually been to, actually helped benefit that said cosplay altogether for sure. And I guess it will really also benefit a whole lot to, of course, my two other versions of my Ballerina Barbara cosplay that I actually did, the ballet wrap dress and the ballet practice outfit for sure. So yeah, but that's one good example of course, why I'm actually referring to hands down for sure. So yeah, and that's amongst plenty of others. So if you find, if you actually get yourself a good location that could really help benefit to, of course, your photo shoot, I think you're going to be in good hands to actually make it look great by far. And another thing you should actually take note as well is, of course, well, the lighting as well. So yeah, pretty much of anything, pretty much natural light is always going to be your best friend, hands down, and is, of course, often best, hands down, because, well, if you really want to make it look actually great, you need to have proper lighting and stuff to actually make it look great for sure. So I say consider maybe shooting during, like, say, the golden hours by far, like, say, pretty much the early morning or the late afternoon, for example, for, of course, soft light or maybe some flattering light by far. But always remember, you have to avoid harsh overhead sunlight by far and actually utilize reflectors and stuff, or even artificial lights when they're absolutely needed. So yeah, and I know pretty much of anything lighting equipment, or of course pretty much all sorts of lighting in a nutshell could also really help hands down. But of course the sun by far could really help pretty much benefiting, of course, what you need for proper lighting, hands down. And that's another thing that you should also take note by far, is that if you're going to actually try to do some outdoor, pretty much outdoor stuff for, of course, your photo shoot, always check the weather for sure to see if it's gonna be sunny by far, because, well, if it's actually raining pretty much during one time, then you're not going to be in a good spot for, of course, your photo shoot. So you always got to rely on, of course, pretty much the weather and stuff if you need the perfect light from, of course, the sun by far to really make it great by far. So yeah, that's just to name me a few for sure. So yeah, and of course, pretty much another thing you should also note is that, well, you need to have the proper gear with you to, of course, pretty much that you need to have to, of course, make your photo shoot stand out by far, because, well, pretty much of anything, I know a camera is, of course, not enough to, of course, make your photo shoot great. You need to rely on other things as well, so always make sure to that you have the necessary equipment of your choosing, yeah, for your chosen location, and of course lighting conditions by far. So yeah, pretty much not just pretty much this camera, as you can see here, but a few others, and of course this bag as well, like, of course, pretty much an extra lens and stuff, and of course, give it to, of course, pretty much this charger right here. Make sure you always have fresh batteries in your hand. And maybe a nice, good strap as well. And that's just to name me a few. So yeah, but either way, I think, I guess pretty much from what I can gather, having the proper gear in your hands to, of course, for what you need for your photo shoot, hands down, is always beneficial by far, because, well, if you don't have the proper gear, you're not going to have a photo shoot, hands down. So yeah. And of course, pretty much the last thing I should mention for planning and preparation is that you have to think of course, the proper poses as well for, of course, your cosplay for sure. So always decide on poses beforehand, whether it be, yeah, whether they are posed or, of course, candidates by far, and always consider signature poses from the character, or you can create your own to really capture their personality for sure. So I guess any kind of pose that you actually would go for, hands down, could really help benefit a whole lot, and I think you'll be in good hands for sure. So yeah, with all those that I've actually mentioned, if you do all of those hands down, I think you're going to be in a really great spot to, of course, plan out your cosplay photo shoot for sure, and give it to, of course, what I've actually done so far. I know that's saying a whole lot. Alrighty then, well, now that we actually got the first factor out of the way, we might as well go ahead and move on to, of course, the next factor, and of course, how to plan a cosplay photo shoot for sure, and that being, of course, communication with the photographer. Now I guess pretty much of anything to really make your photo shoot really stand out for your perspective, the photographer who is actually taking pictures of course, your cosplaying everything also has to come into play by far, and I really do mean a whole lot because, well, pretty much the guy holding this device right here, capturing you from pretty much everywhere all at once. Always always make sure that you are in good communication with the photographer, hands down. Like, of course, probably one good example in order to actually do that is that, well, you have to share ideas with the photographer, hands down, to really get you where you need to be. So yeah, pretty much of anything. They're both completely different. A cosplayer always wears their costume, and a photographer always takes their pictures. But communication is, of course, the one key factor to make your photo shoot stand out. So by sharing ideas, of course, on that front, I think it will really get you somewhere, hands down. So I say give it to that in terms of sharing ideas. Always communicate about your vision of course, what you're looking for, as well as, of course, your desired poses, and the overall theme of course, your shooting everything. So by relying all that to, of course, the photographer you're working for, hands down, they will actually rely that information by far and think, yeah, I think I can actually try to capture that for sure. So yeah, and sometimes there might be other times where, of course, pretty much the photographer would have their own ideas to actually make the photo shoot actually look great for sure. So I say it's good to actually bounce off between the two ideas, just like that with one snap of the finger by far. So yeah, I guess pretty much of anything. Pretty much, always make sure that you share ideas between the two, hands down. And if you actually pretty much go with one idea, and of course the photographer goes for another idea, find a really good balance, hands down. So that way, I think you're going to be in a really great spot to still make it look great. And of course, another thing that you should communicate with your photographer on is you have to discuss expectations, hands down, because, well, much like cosplayers who have spent a good chunk of money in, of course, putting together these outfits, photographers also make a living taking pictures and stuff, hands down. In fact, many photographers out there actually do that as, of course, their jobs by far. So always be clear of course, pretty much the payment that you might actually give, hands down. Like, of course, let's take, for example, if the photographer actually charges me about $100 for an hour-long photo shoot, I have to make sure that the $100 is, of course, pretty much well needed for, of course, for me to pay that photographer, hands down, for sure. And sometimes they would actually charge a bit more than that, or they would charge the same price that I actually mentioned and include tax in the mix. But that's actually the key important, hands down, for sure. Photographers do make money, hands down, and you gotta make sure they're actually pretty much well paid for, so that way they can actually still make a living off of it, and, well, all that sort of stuff. And also be kind of course, the shots, yeah, and of course, pretty much make sure to ask what kind of shots are desired, hands down, and what the photographer's experience is with cosplay photography, hands down. So yeah. Pretty much there's plenty of photographers out there who have actually done this several times by far, and they've actually really made a living off of it, hands down. While, of course, there are some first-timers from what I can gather for sure that could really that could really help benefiting, of course, pretty much gain that kind of experience, hands down. Like, of course, they had no knowledge of course, doing cosplay photo shoots and stuff. Pretty much all they did is, of course, pretty much, let's say, do photography and stuff for, like, an event or a wedding, for example. So I guess pretty much of anything, I say it's always good to, of course, ask what kind of shots are desired, and, of course, what the photographer's experience are with them for sure. Like, let's say, for example, back when I did my photo shoot in my Beacon Dance Ruby Rose cosplay. Now, the photographer that I actually worked with, hands down, pretty much, she actually did a good number of photo shoots and everything for, of course, events and weddings, as I've actually mentioned, but never actually gained experience doing cosplay photo shoots for sure. So, of course, given to all that, hands down, I did actually work with that said photographer during the time I actually did that photo shoot, and luckily enough for a first go at it, the photographer I worked with is actually really nice and really pulled it off for a first time, hands down. And looking back on that said photo shoot that I actually did, I'm thrilled on how well the pictures actually turned out for sure. So yeah, either way, I think, I guess if anything, it really does help benefit a whole lot, hands down. So I guess pretty much if anything, always make sure to discuss expectations, hands down, before jumping right into it all the way. So yeah, and of course another thing that you should do to make your photo shoot stand out by far is, of course, you have to get references, hands down. So I guess if anything, to really get the idea of course, what you're looking for your photo shoot, hands down, always see examples of course, the photographer's works and get references from others who have worked with them in the past. So yeah, pretty much of anything, it's always it's always vitally important to actually look back on, of course, the photographer's experiences, hands down, so that way you can get the idea of course, what they're actually doing by far, and of course, what experience they actually do, so that way you can actually see what you have to work with by far once you actually decide to work with them, hands down. So yeah, I guess pretty much, if anything, I think I know from what I can gather, getting references and stuff can really help benefit a whole lot, and going back a bit to, of course, the first factor, hands down, if you really want to get a great shot or a really great pose or both, always rely on references from other sources that could really help match the character you're cosplaying as, for sure. Again, going back to my Ballerina Barbara cosplay, as I actually mentioned, one pose I actually dig is, of course, pretty much me standing on my toes by far, and of course having my arm strike out in a nice ballet arm by far while I'm holding onto the bar, for sure. That's actually a reference to, of course, a fan art that I actually found during the time I actually was working on that said cosplay, for sure. And during my photo shoot that I actually did, we actually did a really great job recreating that said fan art by far, and I think it really does stand out for sure. And I was really quite thrilled on how well it actually turned out, for sure. And luckily enough, through some nice picture taking from, of course, my mom, who was also there for sure. I think it really did help benefit a whole lot in making that photo shoot turn out absolutely great, for sure. So yeah, but that's one good example of course, what I'm referring to, hands down. So I guess if anything, with what I've actually mentioned, communicating with, of course, your photographer that you're actually working with could really help benefit a whole lot to make your photo shoot stand out, for sure. Because, well, without communication, hands down, for sure, I think you're gonna be stuck in limbo and make your photo shoot actually look crap, hands down, for sure. it's kind of like plenty of other fields that I should mention, like, of course, when you're working at a restaurant and you're working with other chefs in the kitchen, it's always good to rely on communication and stuff in order to make your dishes look great and sending out to hungry customers who are in desperate need to, of course, have a really great meal. So yeah. And of course, let's not forget to mention, if you actually want to learn how to drive a car, you gotta rely on pretty much communication from your instructor, hands down, so that way, pretty much really great communication from, of course, pretty much the instructor can actually make you a better driver the more you actually drive, for sure. So yeah, and that's actually pretty much, those are of course a few examples of course why I'm actually referring to hands down. So if you really want to make your photo shoot actually look great, always rely on, of course, communicating with the photographer hands down. So if you got ideas that you want to share with them, they're willing to work around with that hands down. And of course, pretty much if the photographer does have their own ideas, and of course, pretty much does some stuff like, okay, let's get you over to the left a little bit, yeah, a little more, slightly back to the right, yeah, all that sort of stuff, and working around all sorts of angles and stuff. Again, you gotta work around it, hands down. So yeah, communication is always important, hands down. So I think pretty much of anything, you'll be in good hands if you communicate with your photographer hands down for sure. But don't over-communicate hands down because, well, you're actually going to result in some massive confusion hands down. So I say find a good balancing, of course, on that front for sure. So yeah. Alright then, so yeah, that's actually one important factor and stuff when it comes to playing out a cosplay photo shoot for sure, right? Now the third factor is, of course, where of course the fun part really begins, and well, and I guess if anything, this is the part we've been waiting for, with the third factor being what goes on during the photo shoot for sure. So yeah, like I said, this is the part you've been waiting for. You're finally getting your photo shoot going hands down, and of course you're gonna be out there making sure that you make your cosplay the best that you can in every single angle that's possible. But what actually goes on while it's actually happening? Well, there are some things that you can do during the photo shoot hands down. Like, one thing is that you always have to be prepared for sure. Like, of course, you need to have your cosplay all set and ready to go for when you actually get yourself fully prepped for your photo shoot hands down. And, of course, make sure you have your poses and stuff all ready to go hands down. So yeah, always think about the proper ones in your mind, and of course, making them look great. And again, pretty much as one good example, it's almost like, say, pretty much rehearsing for an audition and stuff. So you gotta be prepared for, of course, all that for sure. And of course, pretty much of anything, photo shoots and stuff cannot rely on just one shot in general. It actually takes multiple shots hands down. So I say pretty much of anything, if you really want some great pretty much photos and everything, always make sure to take multiple shots to ensure that you capture the best shots and variety for of course the character you're cosplaying as during your shoot hands down. And of course, pretty much another thing you should mention is that, well, always rely on experimenting with different angles. So yeah, you can't actually just take a camera and of course pretty much holding a straight and just like that for sure. No, you gotta rely on, of course, different angles and stuff and different perspectives to add visual interest for sure. So yeah, pretty much of anything, pretty much give it to all that. Pretty much if you have the photographer take your picture like this, hands down, with nothing much else added, we get down to it, with that aspect alone, that's not very interesting for sure. But of course, with multiple angles and stuff, like of course, pretty much overview, underview, pretty much over the shot, a POV for sure, and of course maybe some wide angles by far, and maybe an over-the-shoulder one. That's actually what's actually most important by far. So yeah, try to at least experiment with different camera angles and stuff. Whether it be you be up close, yeah, pretty much up close, or of course the photographer is capturing you and your cosplay from like so far away for sure. So yeah, pretty much, if anything, given to all that, I think it actually does make you wonder, where the camera? Where is in fact the camera? I think it's kind of hard to tell. Oh, there's one right over there. So yeah, pretty much of anything, I guess relying on different camera angles and stuff can really help give much more visual interest in your photo shoot by far. And again, as one good example is that. Pretty much of anything with, of course, filming stuff, they can't rely on one angle and stuff to make a movie look great. They have to experiment with multiple angles for sure, and given to that front alone, I think it really does help benefit a whole lot. And I've seen plenty of movies over the years by far, and let me tell you, the one thing I always do talk about when it comes to a movie for sure would definitely have to be the cinematography, hands down. So whether it be some really great camera shots they actually provide, or of course some really terrible ones from what I can gather, and I know that's saying a whole lot given to the amount of movies I'm actually seeing over the years. They actually do rely on different camera angles and stuff to give much visual interest for sure. And I can make the same argument for cosplay photo shoots by far, so always make sure to experiment with different camera angles to give much visual interest in, of course, your photo shoot. So yeah, and of course the most important thing that you have to do during your photo shoot by far is, of course, have fun. So yeah, pretty much of anything, I guess pretty much of anything, playing out a cosplay photo shoot is actually really great, but as long as you actually have fun while doing so, I think you're gonna be in great hands. So you can't actually just show up to the photo shoot, pretty much and everything, and that's exactly that. No. Always enjoy the process and let your personality shine through while the photo shoot is actually happening, hands down for sure, because, well, you're actually showing off yourself in your cosplay throughout multiple angles by far in where the camera is actually pointing at for sure. So yeah, either way, I think it would actually help benefit a whole lot. So as long as, of course, you have fun with, of course, doing all that for sure, you're going to be in a really great spot to make your photo shoot stand out very well. So yeah. Alrighty then, well, now that we got that done, we might as well get ourselves in for the final factor in playing out your cosplay photo shoot, hands down, and that, of course, leads to the following question after the last one being what actually happens post photo shoot for sure. Or I guess in this case, what actually happens after the cosplay photo shoot for sure. Well, the answer is actually quite simple because, well, I guess pretty much of anything, the pictures that you've actually took hands down with, of course, everything that happens during the photo shoot and stuff, they're actually quite nice. But I guess in terms of the best ones that needs to be picked out for sure, that actually does kind of vary for sure. So I guess the one thing that you have to do is that you must review the photos pretty much reviewing the photos with the photographer hands down and selecting the best ones that you can actually use for editing for sure. So yeah, pretty much of anything, that's exactly what I actually mean, pretty much what I mentioned earlier about multiple shots for sure, right? Pretty much, if anything, taking multiple shots of course, all sort of pretty much of course different shots of course everything that goes on during your photo shoot. That's actually the key factor by far, and well, pretty much of anything that could really help benefiting of course what you're looking for. So I guess if anything, if they take multiple shots of course the exact same pose that you've actually done, you always gotta rely on picking out the best ones for sure that you think actually stood out quite well for sure. So yeah, pretty much, if anything, it is rather hard to actually pick one out, yes, but as long as, of course, the best one that you think are great in your opinion by far, I think it really does help in the long run for sure. And I guess in terms of editing your photos and everything to make it stand out, well, that's actually the most important thing, hands down, because, well, given to that aspect alone, this looks like a job for Photoshop. So yeah, and of course, pretty much of anything, the one other thing that you should note is, of course, always rely on the final edits for sure. So I guess pretty much of anything, you can actually play around with different edits and stuff with, of course, the photos that you actually took. Yeah, that's, of course, pretty much taken by the photographer, hands down, or by yourself for sure. So I guess you can pretty much play around with, of course, the lighting and stuff, or the brightness and the contrast and everything, and let's not forget to mention the texture and, of course, the exposure and stuff. Those are, of course, the most important things that you have to edit out if you really want to make your photo shoot actually great for sure. So by having the photos professionally edited, it could really help enhance their appearance by far and make it absolutely outstanding for sure. So yeah, that's actually the key part, and of course, pretty much editing your photos altogether for sure. So yeah, and once you're happy with, of course, how it actually turned out, I guess pretty much of anything, you can actually pretty much send it out, and of course, whatever you need to do with them, hands down, like, of course, you can put them up on social media and stuff to share with all of your friends and all of your followers and gain tons of traction. Or, of course, you can actually send the photos out to conventions and stuff, so that way they can use it for when they will book you for when you're actually going to a convention for sure. Or I guess as another good example, you can actually use them to, of course, make some nice prints and stuff to sell to the public if you actually if you need to, hands down. And trust me, I've got a lot of these hands down, and let me tell you, I think the ones I've actually put together by far, they really stood out quite well for sure. And that's the one thing I do hope to do later on once I actually get pretty much on my new version of course, my vendor booth going for, of course, conventions and events coming up for sure. So that way I can actually sell stuff like these to the public for sure. And I guess pretty much of anything, I think you're really going to be in a really great spot for, of course, what you actually have provided for sure. So whatever you want to do with, of course, your photos that you actually took during your photo shoot by far, I think you're going to be in a really great spot, hands down. So yeah. And so yeah, with all that said and done, that's everything I need to say about all this, hands down. So yeah, overall, I guess pretty much of anything, playing out a cosplay photo shoot is always the key factor to really make your cosplays actually stand out for sure. And given to all those factors I've actually stated hands down, I think you're going to be in a really great spot to make your photo shoot actually great by far for sure. So yeah. And I guess I give it to all that. I still love what I'm doing with, of course, all of my cosplays for sure. And I still want to experiment with, of course, other things that I want to do with, of course, my cosplays, on top of getting new ones that I will eventually work on later on down the road. And trust me, I've got a whole lot for sure, so I'm hoping to actually work some things out pretty much in recent years for sure. So yeah, I guess pretty much of anything, and that's on top of the other aspects I've actually talked about earlier for sure, whether it be how to actually judge a cosplay contest, or of course how to make cosplay a full-time job for you. And of course, how to actually plan out a cosplay performance for, of course, events like, say, cosplay contests or masquerades for sure. So yeah, I guess if anything, cosplay photo shoots are always the most important thing when it comes to having all these for sure. So I say pretty much of anything, I think you're going to be in a really great spot by far if you ever do decide to plan one out for sure. And yeah, pretty much of anything, whether it be you're at a convention or on location somewhere that's local to where you live, hands down, I think you're going to be in a great spot for sure to really get you where you need to be for sure. So yeah, and trust me, I've actually done quite a few photo shoots as of pretty much for the past few years for sure, and I do hope to actually work out on more later on down the road for sure, because, well, given to the amount of cosplays I've actually put together, I've already got some great ideas that I do hope to get underway later on down the road for, of course, for some future photo shoots, hands down. So yeah, but we're gonna have to wait and see on that once I get some things worked out and maybe some things planned out from what I can gather. But I guess if anything, with all those I've actually mentioned, if you take all those to heart and actually do all those accordingly, then you're gonna be in a really great spot to make your cosplay photo shoot stand out for sure. And of course, like I said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I guess if anything, pretty much a picture of you and your cosplay is actually, say, 10 times more than pretty much 1,000 times 10 words by far. But you kind of get the idea from what I can gather. So yeah, and I guess on that thought, I think I'll definitely end this episode here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest episode, and by all means, let me know what you thought of this down in the comments down below. I would love to know on what you guys think. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say. Of course, that front. Thank you guys so much for watching, and well, I guess seeing how I did get my camera out for sure, and well, I guess I might as well put this in my bag, and well, I guess pretty much of anything, I think I might as well plan out my next cosplay photo shoot hands down, because, well, I guess there's a lot of ideas that I want to get underway, so I gotta make sure I actually do plan one out eventually. So I guess until then, yeah, I guess seeing how I did get my camera out, I guess I might as well get some good pictures and stuff, still making good use of that hands down. So yeah, I'll definitely leave you at that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next episode. Yeah, with, of course, my camera and everything. But yeah, see you soon. Okay, I guess, seeing how you made it to the end of this video right now, I think I might as well spill the beans of course, will be coming up this weekend. So yeah, just as a friendly reminder, on Saturday, June 21st, that's going to be coming up, my workplace, Area 51 of the Crow's Nest Online, are going to be hosting their free RPG Fest again this year. Now, I guess it was actually a really great fun, the first time they actually did it, and I'm excited to see what they're going to be providing for, of course, this year for sure. And yeah, pretty much of anything, I actually got to be part of that said event, hosting their cosplay contest alongside Casual Crow right around last year. So I'm really excited to do it again this year for sure. So yeah, pretty much of anything. Like I said, their free RPG Fest event is going to be taking place on Saturday, June 21st, over at their shop at the Cortland Corset building over in Cortland, New York. So yeah, and like I said, I'm going to be there in person and everything, and I'm going to be hosting and judging their cosplay contest this year. So yeah, it was actually really great fun by far, and I'm excited to do it again this year. And of course, alongside it, I'm actually also going to be possibly bringing my new version of my vendor table and everything, and selling my prints and stuff while I'm there. But we'll have to wait and see on that. So yeah, but needless to say, I had a really great time last year, and I'm excited to come back this year for sure to see what we actually go down for sure. So yeah, all the information and stuff can be found on Area 51's social media pages, like their Facebook and Instagram. So always hit up pretty much on that to really get you the idea of course, what they're actually going to be playing out for sure. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to DM them and send them an email as well if you actually want to get some ideas of course, what they're going to be providing hands down. So yeah, but either way, it's going to be really great fun, I'm not going to lie. So yeah. All the links and stuff are down in the description box below for you to check out. And by all means, if you actually see me on this upcoming Saturday that's going to be coming up, then by all means, coming up to me and say hi. Hope to see all of you there.
Special thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon for making today's video possible, including my top tier supporters for this month, VD. So if you want to be like these guys and show your support to us, then go to patreon.com/AckleyTackTV to pledge now, do so, and get some awesome rewards within your budget. Hey guys, this is AckleyTack4427 here. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Feel free to like, comment, and share if you enjoy what you're seeing. If you like what you see here and want to see more videos coming up, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and switch on the notification bell to get notifications, and select all notifications to be notified for when we post a new video. And don't forget to switch on notifications on your phone as well. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel and our 2-member channel with Sam the Thomas Fan 1, SamAttack4427TheThomasFan1 Productions, for plenty more content you can't find on here. You can check both of our channels out with the links or by our handles provided on screen. Feel free to shoot me an email with my email address provided, backley95@hotmail.com, if you want to ask me a question, want to collab with me for a project you've got in the works, or if you want to book me to be featured for a convention coming up. Follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up to date with me on updates, announcements, and new releases of my videos, as well as plenty of others I've got with my handles provided, as well as the links down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to follow me on TikTok for other videos I've got aside from the ones I've posted on YouTube, and on Twitch for any future live streams I've got coming up soon, as well as join our official Discord server to see what we've provided. If you wish to show your support to me, then feel free to check out my Patreon to get sneak peeks of my videos coming up before they go up online, as well as getting access to updates and playing more, in addition to getting some awesome rewards within your budget. Also, don't forget to check out and show your support to me on my wishlist on Amazon, and even supporting me at streamlabs.com/AckleyTackTV/tip that you can find in the description box below, as well as on my Twitch page. And in case you can't find any of the links that are provided, then not to worry about a thing. All the links and stuff are also provided on my link tree that you can also find in the description box below, as well as a few selected number of my social media pages. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take care.